All right, ladies and gentlemen, and I'm Lex Umaga, and I'm back in my newest segment. We actually did an episode one previously where I had Tank and Superstar here, and that was called Lex's Corner. And you know what? A bunch of us decided this show needs to really be called Lex's Complex. Am I right, honey? Lex's Complex, doesn't that serve better than Lex's Corner?
Well, we all know you have a complex, so I guess so.
All right. Enough of that. Enough of that. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Well, my guest today is none other than the new OEW Women's Champion, Honey Potts. Honey, welcome to the program.
Well, thank you. It's nice to get appreciated.
All right, honey. So we're going to start this off with the biggest question there is. You ready? The meat of the matter. Why are you
Sure.
here in the OEW? Why OEW?
Why OEW? Why the hell not? I mean, I was in a big Fed before, and you know what? I wasn't happy there. So I left. And I'm doing what I want to do. I want to wrestle. I want to fight. I want to see how all these other people around the grid are wrestling, and I want to face them. Because guess what? The more you know, the better you can become, and I want to be the best. So, in order to do that, I have to face as many opponents as I possibly can. And being locked up in one Fed really kind of stifles what you can actually do if you're facing the same people
Uh
over and
huh.
over and over again.
All right, well let's talk about that. So, at the OEW Winter Invitational, you went through that pretty much that Royal Rumble style match, and then at the end it was you and Leah Duffield. Nobody expected Leah Duffield to show up in the OEW arena, and everybody was in shock. I mean, she's coming over from BCW, and I believe she works in some other promotions here, but was that your first time ever working with Leah?
Yeah. I'd never seen her perform. I've never been in the ring with her. So, yeah, that was my first experience with her in any way, shape, or form. And it was interesting. It was
Mm-hmm.
exhausting and tiring, and it was brutal. I mean,
Yeah.
just going
Yeah.
through that Royal Rumble match, it was hard. And I went out first. Do you know how hard it is to go out into a Rumble first and make it all the way to the end? I was exhausted, and then I had to go into a Hell in a Cell. No
Yeah.
thanks to that douchebag, Paul.
Well, let's talk about that for a minute. So you go through all these competitors, and then you find out that Leah Duffield's in, and then it's down to you and Leah Duffield in the Hell in a Cell match. I mean, I gotta be honest with you. I wasn't there in person, but I went back and I watched the video footage of you guys in action, and I gotta say, number one, you guys worked very well together. You guys were very fluid, and I don't think any other match this year is going to top that, which you've gone through recently. I mean, that was like one of those holy shit type moments. I mean, the two of you in that cage. I mean, tell me about it. Like, what was your feeling going into that cage against an opponent that you've never faced and that brutal structure?
Well, I was kind of pissed off that one, she was the last one out,
Mm,
and she was pretty fresh. She's hardly gotten any damage, and I'm sitting there bruised up, bleeding, and then going into that Hell in a Cell, and I'm like, you know what? Okay, fine. I'm gonna do what I have to do to get through this and get what I want. Facing her was honestly one of the best fights I've ever had.
right.
And yeah, we brought it. She beat me down over and over again. She used my face on the side of the cell, and I mean, it took a long time for my the cuts and everything all over my face to heal up. Thank God for makeup. And but you know, everything she did to me, it just made me want to get and win over her even that much more.
Right.
And the fact that we were able to do that match the way it was done,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it was a holy shit moment. I mean, shit. How many times do you see people busting out the side of a cell? You don't. And then,
Right.
of course, you know, crazy me, I'm like amped up on adrenaline and everything, just going through the side of it, and then, oh, I'm gonna climb the damn cell to the top, and then I basically taunt her to come up and say, "Come on, we're not done yet. Get up here, bitch." And yeah, she climbed, and yeah, and then I did a Batista bomb on her, and we went right through the top of the roof of it. So did not expect that to happen, but it did, and I won. That's all there is to it. You
Yeah.
know,
You
I
def.
had the grit to prove it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. You definitely were the victor in that match. So let me ask you your thoughts. So going into this match, and I don't know if you were aware, but there was a little bit of controversy behind the scenes. I don't know if you're aware, but Mama T voiced her opinion concerning, this whole big event, and she was a little bit upset with our new vice president of operations because she was not included in this. What what do you have to say about that? And what do you have to say if, let's say, instead of Leah Duffield, it was you and Mama T?
yeah, Mama T. Yeah, I've heard about what happened and how Paul got his little vice presidency. So, honestly, I would not have been surprised if she had been put into the match,
Mm-hmm.
but
Mm-hmm.
for some reason she wasn't, and it was Leia. Honestly, it doesn't matter to me who was put in the match. I would have done exactly what I did no matter who I fought. Mama T, Leah, could have been, anybody else. And I still would have done exactly what I did. I wanted the prize, and I did everything in my power to get it, and that's exactly what I did. So,
Well, you definitely got the prize because that OEW Women's Championship looks very beautiful around you. And speaking of anyone else, so I don't know if you're aware, but Nina Prater is back in the OEW. She is a OEW legend. She's a former women's champion. Aside from Tiesa Pierce, who is no longer with us at the moment, I don't know what the situation with Tiesa is, but wish her nothing but
mhm.
bad luck. Anyway, so what would you do if Nina, or let's say Tiesa, decided to come after you for your belt? I mean, these are two legends in the ring, and both have carried the OEW
Hmm.
championship. What do you got to say about these two?
Yeah, I saw Nina come back the week before last, and she made a lot of claims, and yeah, she's a legend. She's, from what I understand, one of the OEW originals for the women's division. And you know what? Props to her for that.
Mm-hmm.
But guess what? When was the last time she was in the fucking ring? It's been ages. And, it's all great and well that she's back, but you know what? She's going to have to prove herself in the ring again to get even a shot at this belt. As for Tiesa, never faced her. Don't know anything really about her other than she basically got fired by Paul, the douchebag. And, yeah. Honestly, I don't really know either one of them. I know Nina has history, but that was then. This is now. I'm the champion now, and
That's right.
whoever wants to come at me for this belt has to go through the other women as well because they're not just going to get a shot like Paul was promising Mama T for. So yeah, um, they're going to have to prove themselves to get a shot at this baby here. I mean, I
Let's.
worked my ass off
Mhm.
through all those women to get this. They're going to have to do the same to even get a shot.
Well, let's talk about the other women. We have Alexa. We have Volcano, which I've recently been hearing that you and her have been going back and forth on Twitter. Um, we have Soria. There's quite a few women on the roster. Anybody in particular that you might see yourself in the ring with?
Well, let's see. Uh, let's see. I already faced Alexia.
Hmm.
I actually eliminated her in the Rumble.
Right.
So as for another match with her, honestly, I'm game. I'll face anybody. I don't care. And as for Volcano, yeah. Okay. The first things out of her mouth about me was, oh, I could have beaten her in 10 seconds flat if I had been in that Royal Rumble. Guess what? You weren't. Doesn't matter with the woulda, coulda, shoulda, ifs crap. You weren't there. You didn't win. Saying that you could have done this, you could have done that, doesn't mean a damn thing.
Right.
Get in the ring and prove yourself. That's what I did. And for her to kind of run her mouth and basically call me weak and pathetic and not worthy of this belt, how dare she? I'm the one with the belt. I went through a Royal Rumble. I went through 7 opponents and then a Hell in the Cell after that. I don't think she could have even lasted the Rumble. But I did.
Well, to be fair, it's easy to say things behind a keyboard, but can you actually really back it up in person? And that's what I've been noticing that, I see a lot of wrestlers from different promotions, around the grid, and
Oh, yeah.
everybody's a keyboard warrior these days. Nobody comes up to you and will tell you to your face this and this and that. They use,
Of course.
Twitter, or they use Facebook or TikTok or whatever, and they want to get their point across. So yeah, that's kind of pretty ballsy of Volcano. Definitely, she doesn't know what she's getting herself into.
Ballsy and stupid.
Right? Exactly.
You don't want to piss off the one champion who could either make or break your career. And yeah, her basically saying I didn't earn it or I'm not good enough or she could beat me in 10 seconds, that is nothing but sheer disrespect. And I respect my opponents when they're fighting me in the ring. If they're
Hmm.
going to run their mouth, that's when my respect for them vanishes.
Right.
Especially if they've never faced me. I've been around for quite some time. I've done a lot of hardcore matches. I've been in cages. I did a moonsault off the top of a damn cage before. And I won a championship from doing that too. But you know what? I don't diss anybody unless they've done something to me. I
Right.
don't disrespect their abilities. I don't say, oh, you're a weak piece of shit. But for her to do that without ever having to face me, that is disrespect and that's sheer stupidity. You don't do that for somebody you've never faced. Because you know what? That's what people used to do to me. And they underestimated me. And guess what? I shocked the shit out of them. And that's what I'm going to keep doing because I
Hmm.
keep improving. I keep learning. And that's how I'm going to stay on top because I learn and I just keep getting better.
Well, let's talk about that a minute here. You're learning and things like that. I do have a question for you as far as learning and things like
Mm-hmm.
that. I remember you 2 years ago, and you used to go out there. You were lovable. You were very charismatic. You were like, you were literally the epitome of Harley Quinn. Let's call a spade a spade.
No,
And
actually, that's incorrect.
well, at
Harley
least.
Quinn is an anti-hero. She's actually a villain's little supporting cast member, the Jokers, if I recall.
Hmm.
I was compared to her because of my damn hairstyle. I'm not Harley Quinn. However, I was the epitome of the little good girl. I was the smallest on the roster at the time, and I took the big risks, and I did everything, but I did it legally. I
R-
did not cheat. I did not lie. I did not steal. I followed every
mm-hmm.
rule in the book, and I did what I was told. I was the good little girl who didn't break the rules, and that's what I was.
Okay.
But I'm not that anymore.
Well, let's talk about that. That's a great segue to enter in. So, what traumatic experience caused you to shift like this? Like, like I said, I remembered you a couple years ago. Many may argue you're Harley Quinn. You weren't Harley Quinn. You were wearing your white, your teal. You were lovable. You were fun. Everybody enjoyed you, and you were like that fan favorite. Now all of a sudden you're here and you have like this darkness around you, this dark aura. And usually when individuals they must experience something very traumatic. What has happened that has changed you, honey?
I think it's something that has built up over time, and I guess you could say it was the straw that broke the camel's back.
Okay.
I mean, think about how long was I this good little girl, and I did everything. I was nice to everybody. I didn't cheat on anybody. I didn't hurt anybody.
Right.
I wasn't doing anything bad. What did I ever get from being the good girl? Nothing.
Of course.
So, a few months back, I had an injury and I broke my wrist. So I was out. So I had nothing but time to do rehab and think about everything. And I looked back and I watched all my old matches, and I'm sitting there and I'm like, why are these people getting away with all this shit, and why am I putting up with it? Why do I have to be the good girl? Why am I the one getting screwed over and left in the dust, not getting anything from it? And then I woke up, and you could I guess I can kind of say I woke up because a close friend of mine has been trying to wake me up for probably the last 6 months, and
Mm-hmm.
it kind of hit home. My close friend SMF, he kind of went through a very similar situation. He used to be a good guy, kind of rough about it, but yeah. And
Mm-hmm.
now he's a lot worse than I am, but now he's way darker. He's mean, and you know what? He still gets what he wants. And I decided, especially after I lost the only title I ever got, because I got robbed. Literally robbed.
Mm-hmm.
They stole the belt from me when I was down in the ring and literally picked it up off the ring post on the side
Right.
and ran with it. Nobody stopped them. Nobody called the police because that was outright theft. They should have. I was robbed. I'd been attacked. I'd been, hit from behind. And then they make me go through this match clearly to my disadvantage because they made my specialty
Mm-hmm.
void. They voided out what I did best. And yet I still was almost able to beat the bitch. And instead of it being a one-on-one match, it was more like a two-on-one match because her little helper decided to come in and hit me behind with a chair, knocking me unconscious. And oh yeah, my opponent, she was already unconscious. I'd put her into a sleeper hold and she was unconscious. So I fall down unconscious, having been hit with a chair from behind, and she drags her lifeless body over mine, and they count 1, 2, 3. Even though she was unconscious. I don't even think that's even legal.
Wow. I definitely, I'm a firm believer that, trying to be good doesn't really pay off at the end. You always end up getting
Well,
screwed.
I did get screwed. And the next season, I wanted my belt back. I didn't get a chance to even go after it.
Right.
And after that, things just got from bad to worse. Then I got my injury, and I was like, why are they letting all these villains, these thieves, these cheaters all get away with everything? I did everything right, and I saw fans cheering for the bad guy. And I'm like, why am I such a good person, a good girl, when all these people who are doing all the wrong things are getting everything they want?
Right.
So, I said, enough. I'm not going to be the good girl anymore. I'm going to do what I want and get what I want because you know what? I fucking deserve it. I've been in long enough and I did exactly what I wanted. I went after the belt. I went through all those people. I fought my ass off and I got what I wanted.
It definitely paid off. It definitely paid off. You mentioned about your injury. How are you holding up from your injury?
I am completely healed.
Hmm.
I've been healed since before I came to OEW.
Okay.
Um, I did massive rehabilitation. I did massive training. I've learned a few new moves. And that's one thing that I'm going to keep doing. I'm going to keep learning. I'm going to keep expanding my repertoire of moves because the one thing that I want people to remember about me is you never know what I'm going to do next. And by having that repertoire of many, many moves, I mean, I have so many submissions that I can do. You're not sure which one I'm going to do. But you know what? I'm going to get you. I'm going to do something to you, but I'm not going to do it all the time. I'm going to keep everybody on their toes. And you know what? I think that makes for a better fight because honestly, in a real fight, do you know what's coming?
No, not at all.
Exactly.
So one last question for you because we're a little bit short on time now. What do you see in the future for yourself here in the OEW? It's 2023. You've just captured the women's championship. What do you see yourself here now in the OEW?
I am going to fight till my dying breath to keep this belt, number one. I don't care who's going to come after me.
Hmm.
I don't care if it's a legendary veteran coming back from, years of not wrestling and or somebody who was here and is coming back, or if it's somebody who's brand new who's coming in and wants to make a name for themselves. You know what? I've paid my dues.
Hmm.
Everybody else has to pay their dues, and I'm going to fight whoever I have to fight. But I'm not going to make this belt go easily.
Right.
They literally will have to pry it out of my cold dead hands or literally beat the shit out of me close to death before they actually beat me. I'm not going to let this go. I earned this, and you know what? I'm going to keep going until I can't do it anymore. And I'm planning on sticking around for quite some time because, one, not many people can bend like me, and because I'm so flexible, I think I have a pretty good chance of hanging around for quite some time.
Yeah. I've seen what your flexing does, and yeah, that kind of weirds me out there. Definitely not in the position that I would want to be in. That's for
Why
sure.
does it weird you out? Half the people enjoy when I do that kind of stuff. I mean, come
Yeah,
on.
yeah. Nah, it's quite all
What?
right.
You don't like seeing women bend over backwards?
Not in that way, no. Well,
Well, I bend over backwards and I make it look good.
well, honey, all I can say is thank you for coming to the program here at Lexus Complex, and it's great having you here in the OEW. Congratulations again on your victory at the Winter
Thank you.
Invitational. Definitely a hard fought match. Folks, if you haven't seen it, you could check it out here on YouTube. Go to Second Life Wrestling, Casey King's page, and you could watch the match for yourself and see what we're talking about. Well, before I leave, do you have anything else you want to say to the OEW locker room? Anybody right now? I mean, we heard you say a couple things on Volcano. Do you have anything else you want to say to her or, anybody?
Not really to anyone in specific. Pretty much to the rest of the women's in OAW. Watch your back. You never know what I'm gonna do next. And if you underestimate me, the joke is gonna be on you.
All right. You heard it, ladies. You're all on notice. Thank you, honey.
You're welcome.